Hey traders, welcome to video 3 in the binaryoptions.net trading video series. Today we're looking at support and resistance. In video number 2, or the last video, we looked at trends and ranges. Trends and ranges have a lot to do with how the price is acting around support and resistance levels. So in simplest terms, support is a price area where price stopped falling. You can think of it as a floor. So as mentioned, trends and ranges are determined by how price reacts to support as well as resistance. In an uptrend, support levels are rising, and we'll look at a few examples of that. In a downtrend, support levels move lower, and we'll also look at a couple examples of that. So in a downtrend, there's not a lot of respect for support. The price is continually dropping. During ranges, support is respected on multiple occasions. So we have the price coming to a level, bouncing off of it, coming to a level again, bouncing off of it. And there are minor and significant support levels. There are some that we may note on our charts simply for analytical reasons, but they don't have a lot of impact. Other ones are likely to have an impact on the price, and we'll look at a few examples of those as well. Resistance, in simplest terms, is an area where price stopped rising. Once again, how price reacts around resistance as well as support will determine if the price is in a trend or a range. In an uptrend, resistance levels are rising. There's little respect for former resistance levels as the price just continues to push up. In a downtrend, resistance levels move lower as the price continues to drop. During ranges, resistance is respected on multiple occasions, as mentioned, as well as support, so the price is moving within a band. And once again, there are minor and significant resistance levels. We'll look at a few examples after this, but you can always go to binaryoptions.net for trading articles, tutorials, and free resources, including charts. The chart I'm using here is available from freestockcharts.com. A nice little tool to get you familiar with using some of these tools and drawing support and resistance levels. So I've drawn a few here. I haven't drawn all of them. You can get very detailed depending on how many you want to put in here. As we can see through this area, the price is moving in an overall upward direction. So I've marked, here's a resistance level, here's a support level. The resistance level is simply where the price overall stopped rising, and then we have this pullback, and then this support level where the price stopped falling and then moved back again higher, and we have this push higher, sort of what we call a consolidation, where the price kind of moves sideways for a little bit. It's not really a range, but simply more of a pause in the price action, we could say, and it rests along this support level and then moves higher. So in an uptrend, as mentioned in the bullet points, we do expect these resistance levels to be broken. Not necessarily that the price is just going to blow through them, as it did here, but as long as the trend remains up, resistance levels should be broken. So we want to be seeing higher highs. So this goes from here, and it does move higher, then it moves higher again, up to here. And support levels will rise during a trend. So this is kind of how we can determine a trend quite quickly, are these rising? So we can see support's moving up, resistance is moving up, continues to do so here, until this point when we have this major sell-off and we break below this former support level. So now the uptrend becomes very much in question. It actually looks like we may be in a downtrend. We do see this rise up, and as you can see this time, the price does respect this resistance level, which indicates we're probably going to move into a downtrend. And then we can start to see these lower highs, lower lows. So we have support that's dropping, lower lows. So we can see that we're now in a little downtrend. Overall, the support is dropping, There we go. So we can kind of see, just by drawing these little lines, the direction they're going. Overall, we're seeing lower highs, lower lows, and we use that to determine whether we're in a trending environment or a ranging environment. And it'll also depend on what time you look at. We can zoom in here and start to draw even shorter term support and resistance levels. So here, a little resistance level, here a little support level, then the price continues higher, another little resistance level, another support level. And we can do the same thing on shorter time frames, pretty much any time frame you want, and you can show as many or as little as you want, and even cross-reference time. So we can draw them on the daily chart and see, alright, we're in a little bit of a downtrend right now, which means if I'm trading on a 5-minute time frame, I may want to focus more on short positions or taking positions where I'm looking for the market to move lower, simply because then I have additional confirmation from the longer term as well as the shorter term on my trade signals. Now let's find an example of a range. So we can see here the price was moving in an overall trend. Let's look for another stock here. Some of these charts I have written up from other videos. So another great example of a trend here, as this is Harley Davidson. We can see once again overall higher highs, higher lows. Here it's again pulled into question as the price breaks this former support level. But then once again we start to see this higher highs, higher lows. So resistance and support are rising. And then here we have an example of a range. This is on a 1-minute chart, so a lot shorter time frame than the other ones. We can see the price moving within a band on multiple occasions. So you can see the difference between what we saw in the trends and here is that respect and support and resistance are being respected. So this has been respected multiple times. It's had multiple swings. We're not looking at a very big price range here. But regardless whether you see this, if this is $5 or 10 cents, the basic concept is the same. When we see this support and resistance being respected, that's what we're looking for in terms of a range. So support being respected, resistance here, we see it does edge above it, ultimately doesn't surge above it though, so we still consider this. And we got to think of support and resistance as areas, as the bullet point said. Think of them as an exact price generally won't do us much good, since often the price will move a few cents outside, or if it's a $500 stock it might move a couple dollars outside, but it hasn't actually broken out. So you got to look at a bit of a whole context to decide if this is a big move. And we can see here are some bigger moves. This is very calm price action as we're on this particular day moving through the lunch hour. So pretty quiet time during the markets quite often is around lunchtime, so that could be one of the reasons why we're seeing this. But ultimately the price is respecting an area here and an area here. So until we see a definitive breakout, which may start a trend, we're considering this a range, and generally I'll mark it on my charts to show that. And then once this breaks out, we'll start to look for support and resistance levels again, which will help us determine whether we're looking at a trend or a range. I had indicated important support and resistance levels. Let's go back to a Euro USD chart, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Minor levels are all these levels that we could call just sort of waves in an overall move. So this could be a support level, this could be a this could be a resistance level, this could be a support level. Yet they're not very important in the sense that none of them have changed the market's behavior. This level here did change the market's behavior. As we can see, it caused a reversal of the trend. So it caused our higher highs, higher lows to turn into lower highs and lower lows. And as we can see, it caused this support level to be broke. So it went higher, dropped below this support level. So I would consider this an important area. And as we can see, as the price comes back to it, it respects that area and pulls back off of it. Whereas all these other areas, this one here, as the price reaches it, it kind of moves right through it. Doesn't show it a lot of respect, simply because we're moving within a trend. And as mentioned, in an uptrend, we're expecting resistance to be broken. So it continues to move up, breaks through the resistance level, not much of a problem. Here again, we have a little pullback, but then the price just continues to move right through this former high. So none of these would be considered important support areas. We can mark them support or resistance areas. We can mark them on our chart, but it's more just for analytical reasons. This one, when it actually causes a reversal, we want to mark those on our charts because they could be important in the future, and if the price moves into them, there's a possibility that, or a higher possibility that it could hold. Same with here. Once again, now this low caused the price to reverse all the way back up to the former high. So we can look at this as a potential range. As mentioned, support and resistance that hold multiple times are in a range. So we'd have to wait to see if this holds first before we could confirm that it's a range. But for right now, it does look like it may end up being that way. If the price proceeds higher and breaks out, then we will still have a trend in effect. So that should help you out with figuring out some support and resistance levels. We are going to go over more of these concepts throughout the videos as we get into strategies, how to use these, how to interpret them, how to trade off of them most importantly, and how to make money. And we will look at all those things in future videos. But for now, happy trading.